Someone should just hire Mike Flanagan to do everything horror related because everything he does is perfect. An isolated island community experienced miraculous events and frightening omens after the arrival of a charismatic, mysterious young priest. Welcome, movie watchers. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. I am super excited today to talk about Midnight Mass, which is directed and created and written by Mike Flanagan, the man behind The Haunting on Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix. So many Netflix content from him. He's directed the sequel to Annabelle, and this is one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, and this is by far his best work that he has done. Midnight Mass left me speechless. It is something that I can't wait to talk about spoilers and just talk about everything within it because it is truly remarkable. Midnight Mass has such a unique and thought out progression to the series that each episode and each end of the episode just piles on something new that just absolutely blows your mind. This small island community is set in their ways. They have a priest that they go to every day. Well, one day he does not appear, and the arrival of Father Paul shakes up this community. Instead of dwelling on the fact that their father is not there, they accept Father Paul. They start to attend church and kind of take Father Paul under their wings and accept him in their community. We also have a side story of a young man named Riley who is getting out of jail, and everybody on this community is just really tight, and they believe in God, they go to church, and that's pretty much about it. But things start to happen kind of behind closed doors with Father Paul and some other characters involved, and the series really dives deep into faith and how people can be blinded by their faith, how people devote their entire life to faith. There's a lot of sermons, there's a lot of discussion regarding faith in God and people who believe in God and people who don't believe in God. It covers it all, and there is some really intriguing dialogue between characters that may not believe in God and people who believe in God, and that conversation between the two provides for a lot of character growth throughout the series. Hamish Linklater plays Father Paul, and his arrival is something that I was really anticipating because it is Mike Flanagan, so it is a horror series set in a church. But with his arrival, I got the sense that something just wasn't right. But everybody is accepting him, and they are willing to, listen to him. But I just got the sense that something wasn't right. And Zach Gilford plays Riley, and for me, he's a really relatable character, questioning a lot of things that is going on surrounding God and Father Paul. And so he isn't truly involved in the church, and his mother and father, really push that because that's what they believe in. But throughout these 7 episodes, and some of them are almost over an hour long, the progression of Father Paul's character and the story of this church and these miraculous events and frightening omens really start to pile on to the series, and that is where I am absolutely glued to the screen. By the end of the 2nd episode, I start to really pick up on its themes and the discussion around faith and everything involving Father Paul and where he came from and all of the citizens in this small town. That is where the frightening moments start to come out, and that is where you start to really invest in the storyline and the characters and watching everything just kind of build throughout. And as we are introduced to more of Father Paul's life and the story, it allows for some of the more frightening moments to take over. And I'll tell you, there is a couple moments in here that legit caught me by surprise and absolutely terrified me. It's not like over the top gory, these certain scenes, but they really just happened so fast, and I was in complete shock, and I had to rewind to, catch it again. But there is a few moments within here that it really, honestly terrified me. And I watched it in the middle of the day, and I was very scared. But those moments occur quite often within this series. It does center around Faith and Father Paul and Riley, this woman who is pregnant, a couple who is really focused on church. A lot of people in here have their own separate story, and it really focuses around the church. And it's interesting to listen to some people's conversations, and once they start to encounter Father Paul's agenda, it's interesting to see how they will just follow that, and how they are easily persuaded to follow suit. And that whole discussion around faith and church and the following of it is at the center of this entire series. And I think that Mike Flanagan is able to easily balance, these horrific moments and the discussion around church and God. It's not a way that Mike Flanagan is trying to persuade me to start believing in God. It is in a way that is trying to create captivating dialogue and a way for Father Paul and these characters to grow and bring a unique story forth centered around church. So I never felt like when watching the series that I had to start believing in God and I was persuaded to go to church. It doesn't have that kind of agenda. So I really did appreciate that about Midnight Mass. And I was interested in hearing some of these conversations and how people are really devoted to the church and these miraculous events, how they are coming forth. People are really not paying attention to, and they're just accepting certain things that are happening. If I was there, I'd be questioning a lot of stuff. But Mike Flanagan is just able to craft this tone right away. Something's off. And anything that he introduces to the series that is significant to Father Paul or Riley or whoever it may be, it just completely adds to this tone. It's really dark. It's bloody at times. It's terrifying as can be. And Mike Flanagan is able to just kind of flip that switch about middle half of episode 2, with the first episode building these characters, establishing Father Paul and this small community, and then allowing for some of these more darker moments to take over. And he succeeds at that. Midnight Mass impressed me on so many levels, from the subtle themes to the discussions to Hamish Linklater as Father Paul and Riley and all the characters involved, and some of the most terrifying moments I have seen this year on Netflix. It really was effective. It wasn't a chance to have, some crappy jump scares. It was legit moments that terrified me that add to the overall tone and story of Midnight Mass. I highly recommend checking out Midnight Mass. It is a really unique, terrifying series that the progression, it just feels like each episode is getting bigger and bigger. More things are revealed. There's more chaotic moments. And when you look at the last episode to the first episode, it is just so vastly different in terms of character motives, in terms of the story and the dialogue and the tone. It's vastly different, and it's welcoming. This is by far the best Netflix series I have seen this year. So before I give you my final score for Midnight Mass, make sure to check out my channel. Here I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, ranking videos, tier lists, all that fun movie-related content you see on YouTube. I do it all here, so hit that subscribe button to get it all in one spot. I'm going to go ahead and give Midnight Mass an A. Thank you guys for checking my review for Midnight Mass. Have you guys seen it by chance? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up-and-coming content. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.